This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou. This is the English soundtrack from the Guiana
It's a pleasure to be with you again for this new Ariane 5 mission. Under the fairing tonight, two telecommunications satellites, Horizons 3E and Azerspace-2, Intelsat 38. This will be a very special evening. This will be the 100th Ariane 5 to lift off from Eurospaceport here in Kourou. We are at the Jupiter Control Center at 14 kilometers from the launch pad where our launcher and its passengers is waiting patiently, but we're going to go see my colleague Katie Haswell out on the terrace.
Yes, and I'm on the terrace here outside the Jupiter Control Center. This is where the VIPs come to watch the launch, just as it happens. And we did have a sudden downpour earlier this afternoon and an awful lot of wind, but the skies seem to have cleared a little bit now. So let's see how the weather goes. Back to you, Thierry.
Merci, Cathy.
Thank you, Katie. Back at the Jupiter Control Center, I'm joined by Stéphane Israël, CEO of Arianespace.
On l'imagine pour Arianespace. This is tonight the 100th launch for Ariane 5. What makes this launch special for Arianespace?
Yes, you said it. It is the 100th Ariane 5. Ariane 5 has already orbited 205, a satellite, which is quite impressive. It is also the 300th launch of the Arianespace family, so this is very special for us. We have tonight very important customer. We have Intelsat, we have SKY Perfect JSAT, we have Azercosmos, and we are very proud to deliver for them.
Quelques précisions sur la mission de ce soir. We are sending two satellites into geostationary orbit. Tell us about the mission of tonight.
Yes, so the launcher has been transferred to the launch pad yesterday. As you can see on the control screen behind me, all the parameters are green, the weather is green, the basis is ready, the satellites are ready, and the launcher is ready. So if everything goes on track, we will lift off at 6:53 Kourou time tonight. The mission duration will be 43 minutes. The first separation will be at 28 minutes after liftoff. And so we are now ready for this launch, which will be a terrific launch.
And we have a launch window this night. 45 minutes.
45.
45
yes.
minutes. Thank you, Mr. Israel. Nous allons dans un gros quart d'heure maintenant.
In about 15 minutes now, we're going to see our liftoff. So I suggest that we continue discovering this 100th Ariane 5 before it takes off. Katie, you have some information for us from the terrace outside.
So, there she is, Ariane 5, standing tall on launch pad number 3. She has lifted off from this pad 99 times already. And since then, she has undergone a number of changes over the years. So, let's get some facts and figures now about Ariane 5. After 22 years, Ariane 5 is one of the most reliable launches in the industry, and it's been continuously improved. It has 5 different versions. The first model was Ariane 5G, in service from 1996 to 2003. Then the G Plus had an upgraded upper stage running on solid propellant. That was replaced by the GS in 2005 with improved boosters and a cryogenic upper stage. The ES model could loft a heavier payload to low Earth orbit. It had a more powerful Vulcan engine and an upper stage capable of reignition. With the most launches under its belt came Ariane 5 ECA. Since 2002, its improved Vulcan engine and upper stage upgraded from storable to cryogenic propellant, it has launched 66 times. That's the one we're using today. The record mass for Ariane 5 to LEO is 20,750 kilos and nearly 10 tons to geotransfer orbit. Its reliability is impressive, 98.1%, and 12 European countries helped to make Ariane 5. So there you have it. Ariane 5, a truly European project, and lots of prestigious passengers over the years. And 2 more waiting to start their journey today. Thierry, how are things progressing?
Katie, everything is fine. All systems are go. Remember, this evening we have a launch window from 6:53 to 7:38 p.m. local time and 9:53 to 10:38 p.m. UTC, 45 minutes, which is a very comfortable margin. The CSG has been in activity for 50 years now. And over this time, teams have learned to adapt very quickly. You're going to see they need to be flexible and to know how to take initiatives. And you can see this on these images. In last July, we witnessed the switchover of 2 launchers. Following a change in its launch date, VA243 had to leave the final assembly building so that VA244 could take its place. It launched in July. It was then moved to the launcher integration building. So here we see pictures of these 2 giants crossing paths. Just imagine that each launcher on its table weighs 1,200 tons, which is very impressive. So we'll go back to Katie out on the terrace. And here we see a beautiful shot of the Jupiter building and the model. We're out on the terrace now with Katie. How's it going out there, Katie?
Well, Ariane 5 is certainly a big and powerful beast, a titan. She's divided into 3 sections. We call those stages. The boosters constitute the first stage, the main stage, and then we have the upper stage. And she is 54.8 meters tall, weighing in at a total of 776 tons. Now, if we take a little look inside the top of the vehicle, the fairing, we can see our passengers. Horizon 3E at the top for Intelsat and its partner SKY Perfect JSAT Corporation. And below it, Azerspace-2, Intelsat 38 for Azercosmos and Intelsat, who are sharing capacity on the one satellite. Those satellites nice and comfortable in there, inside the fairing. They've got their air conditioning, waiting for liftoff, which is scheduled in 11 minutes and 38 seconds. And you could say they're in first class, Thierry.
So let's get some details about this mission. Liftoff possible will start at 6:53 p.m. After 2 minutes and 19 seconds of flight, the boosters will drop off. At 3 minutes and 19 seconds, we'll have the separation of the fairing. After 9 minutes and 1 second, a jettisoning of the main cryogenic stage will take place, and there will be afterwards ignition of the upper stage, and at 28 minutes and 19 seconds, separation of the first satellite at the upper position, Horizons 3E, and at 42 minutes and 17 seconds, we will have the separation of the second passenger, Azerspace-2, Intelsat 38. So the thrust at liftoff this evening is 10 tons, 827 kilos, including 9.941 tons for the satellites themselves. It's not a record, but it almost is. So we're about 10 minutes and 30 seconds from liftoff. All systems are go. All the panels are green. We are waiting for the last weather update, which takes place at H minus 10 minutes, liftoff minus 10 minutes. And we will communicate those results to you in a few seconds. So back to Katie Haswell.
So the CSG is in French Guiana, of course, for anyone who's not familiar. We're on the northeastern coast of South America. It's pure Amazonia. It's hot and it's humid. It's a very, very beautiful country. We've been flying over with our drone, looking at the town of Cacao. Located 70 kilometres from the capital city Cayenne, in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, the village of Cacao is a farming community, which is part of the municipality of Roura. In 1977, a community of farmers originally from Laos, called the Hmong, settled on the site of the former Sainte Marie de Cacao's plantation. And thanks to their tenacity, they turned cacao into the leading supplier of fresh fruit and vegetables in French Guiana, as well as a major tourist attraction. Indeed, tourism to the village is actually growing thanks to the market, which is held on Sundays and where people can buy food and Hmong woven and embroidered handicrafts. The traditional Hmong New Year has become one of the most important events in the village. In April, the Rambutan Festival, which showcases the fruit that belongs to the lychee family, attracts lots of tourists. There's a small museum which exhibits a collection of insects and live butterflies. The village has also developed eco-tourism, including jungle hikes and water sports such as canoeing and kayaking on the Conte River. And there we have it. The Guiana Space Center is about 120 kilometres from Cacao here on the coast, and as you can see, the sun is setting. The mosquitoes are out. We're on the edge of the Amazon rainforest, but that shouldn't stop us. Over to you, Thierry.
There are no mosquitoes inside, or at least not for now. So let's go into the fishbowl behind me. You can see the flight desk. It's directed by Stéphane Israël and assisted by Roland Lagic, who's the CTO and Vice President for Quality. This is the main nerve center, the control center, and these two persons will take all the necessary decisions so that the countdown proceeds smoothly and security measures are respected throughout the base. So it seems that everything is positive. The weather forecast, the weather update was also positive. It's behind me. Everything is going normally. On the panel, you can see that all panels are green.
Attention pour la séquence finale lanceur.
And we have on the status panel the ground facilities, the launcher, the satellites, and the weather.
À 0-7 minutes.
So, the Range Operations Manager has now announced the beginning of the synchronized sequence. This is the last 7 minutes in the countdown, and at this point the computers are running all the final checks before launch. Let's see what's been happening now in the launch campaign.
The VA243 launch campaign began on April 5 at the Launcher Integration Building. We first assembled the main stage and the two solid rocket boosters. Then we placed the upper stage onto the main stage. In parallel, numerous tests and checks were carried out to ensure that the different subsystems that make up the launcher were functioning properly. In May, the VA243 mission was modified, with the launch finally scheduled for September. Our launcher was thus placed in a secure configuration, then transferred to the final assembly building to allow the VA244 campaign to begin in the Launcher Integration Building. The VA243 campaign resumed in August. We finished preparing the launcher and, most importantly, embarked the missions, 2 passengers, Azerspace-2 Intelsat 38 in the lower position and Horizon 3E in the upper position.
The launch campaign has started with the arrival of Azerspace-2 Intelsat 38 at Félix Éboué Airport, August 6th. For the first time on Ariane 5, transfer to the final assembly building for unpacking and mechanical fit check before another transfer to S3B. In this building, Space System Loral has carried out the pneumatic electrical checkout. The fueling operation was performed very smoothly from August 25 to 30. Horizon 3E, the upper payload, has arrived at Félix Éboué Airport on August 8 and was transferred directly to the S5C payload facility for unpacking. The spacecraft moved to the payload preparation facility S5A. First, the Boeing team successfully completed all the mechanical, pneumatic, electrical checkout. Then the Horizon 3E satellite has been nominally fueled. Combined operation with the launcher have started for Horizon 3E on August 31, starting by its mating on payload adapter. Then it was transferred to the bath building, hoisted onto the Ariane dual launch structure, so-called SILDA, and encapsulated under the fairing on September 5. For Azerspace-2, combined operation with the launcher have begun on September 12, with its flight mating onto the payload adapter. After transfer to the bath, it was hoisted onto the launcher and encapsulated under the SILDA and fairing on September 15.
Yesterday, D-1 was spent transferring the launcher on its table to the launch zone, a busy day that ended with the fluid and electrical hookup operation on the table launch zone interface in order to start filling the launcher reservoir with the liquid oxygen and hydrogen that will fuel the cryotechnical Vulcan and HM-7B engine during the flight. At the end of the countdown, during the last 7 minutes, an entirely automated sequence finishes configuring the launcher and then transmits its control to the onboard computer. At T0, the onboard computer sends the order to ignite the Vulcan engine, and roughly 7 seconds later, after checking that the Vulcan engine is functioning correctly, it sends the order to ignite the 2 solid rocket boosters, leading to be immediate liftoff on the launcher.
I would like to take the opportunity to thank our customer, Intelsat, SKY Perfect JSAT, Azercosmos, the manufacturer, Boeing, Space System Loral, and all the team involved in the satellite preparation campaign that will lead to the Ariane 5 Flight 100.
And there she is on the pad, launch pad number 3 here at the spaceport in French Guiana. Each of our 3 launch zones has its own dedicated control center. It's called launch control. So, whereas the mission controllers deal with the whole mission, everything across the range, the launch controllers deal with only the launch operations. Our satellite's inside there, and you can see the pad is all lit up with the lightning towers around. Now, the launch controllers are based here in a blockhouse.
de la zone de lancement, un bâtiment blindé qui accueille
3
150
kilometers from the pad. It's made of concrete to protect everyone, keep them safe. There's over 100 people working here, and they deal with all the systems concerning the launch vehicle and the launch zone. Started their preparations months ago, and right now their job is to make sure Ariane is ready for takeoff. Right now they're monitoring events during the synchronized sequence, and the computers are running the final controls right now, as we heard earlier, and they have to coordinate an awful lot of checks in a very short space of time. And once all of the conditions are correct, the onboard computer will give the order to start the engines. So we are now 1 minute and 34 minutes to launch, getting close, acute concentration. You can see the people coming out onto the terraces here at the control center. This is the Jupiter building that we're looking at here from a distance with our drone.
À tous de DDO, arrêt du temps des comptes suite à un rouge moyen de la base de lancement. Que tous les moyens restent prêts pour la reprise de la chronologie à H0-7 minutes.
rouge lanceur, vous pouvez rentrer à l'intérieur.
À tous de DDO, retour au vert de tous les moyens de la base de lancement. Le nouvel H0 visé est en TU 22h38 minutes, soit en local 19h38 minutes. Le temps des comptes redémarrera à H0-7 minutes en heure TU à 22h31 minutes, soit 19h31 minutes. À tous de DDO, attention pour la reprise du temps des comptes. Top à H0-7 minutes. Début de la séquence finale lanceur.
La séquence finale lanceur, 22h38 temps universel, c'est le nouveau H0, 19h38 heure de Kourou, après une phase de lancement. À mes côtés, Laurent Jourdain, manager technique lanceur et manager de conformité Arianespace. Bienvenue à toi. Alors, justement, on va pouvoir parler, ça tombe bien, c'est un vrai cas d'école. Justement, on voit là l'état du lanceur, de ses passagers, de la base, de la VTO. Ça, c'est toutes les informations qui arrivent ici. C'est important de faire tout converger en un seul point et qu'on puisse prendre les bonnes décisions.
Tout à fait. En fait, c'est un ensemble de moyens qui sont nécessaires pour faire un lancement. Il y a le lanceur, les satellites, mais aussi la base de lancement, qui est très importante parce que c'est tous les moyens de télémesure, de poursuite et de sauvegarde liés au lancement.
C'est tout ce qu'il faut comprendre, que c'est tout ce qu'il y a au sol, mais pas uniquement ici à Kourou.
The ground, but not here in Kourou.
Qui suivent le lanceur.
C'est quand même un confort, non? Une fenêtre de lancement?
Launch window is a comfort. Yes, for Vega, you have just one specific moment, but here we had 45 minutes. at the same time, since you were a launcher technical authority, that adds stress. You have to find time, find the problem. Yes, but the teams are very well trained and are used to handling this kind of incident. So the synchronized sequence has started again. It's an obligation to go back to -7 minutes. There is a whole series of procedures and actions that are very quick that have to be done on the launcher, and they are automated. Can you explain these procedures? There are 3 parallel synchronized sequences that take place. The first controls the EPC. One concerns the electricity and electronic facilities, and the third concerns the upper stage. So what does that mean? Everything that's fluids, and make sure that everything is okay. We're working with oxygen and hydrogen. We have to reload oxygen and hydrogen, those liquids. We pressurize them both at the EPC and the upper stage. And then for the upper stage, we open and then there are a whole number of activities that are recording the new hour of liftoff and the commutation of the ground to the batteries and all the electrical equipment, because once the H0 will be effective, a few seconds before, the launcher is completely autonomous. It has its flight plan, and once that is triggered off, the launcher is autonomous. -4 seconds before liftoff, the launcher is completely independent. And up till then, all the operations are aiming to make it automated and to free it from its links to the ground. And you'll see at -6 seconds, the cryogenic arms move back, and that is the visual proof that the launcher is now autonomous. Now, Laurent, what I suggest is that our English speakers are going to listen to Katie Haswell. Katie, who is going to talk during the last 3 minutes of the countdown, and we are going to continue with our French friends.
Yes, so we are 2 minutes now and 50 seconds to launch, and we can confirm, yes, that the was given due to the launch zone and not the launcher itself. And if you take a look there at the top of the launch vehicle, you can see those big yellow structures 3/4 of the way up. Those are called the cryogenic arms, and they are clamping onto the top of the launch vehicle, and they are feeding cryogenic propellant into the vehicle. That's propellant which is kept at unbelievably low temperatures. It's liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. The hydrogen is -253 Celsius, and the oxygen -150 degrees Celsius. And of course, it's so cold that it tends to evaporate. And that's why we top up those tanks right up until the last few seconds. In fact, you'll see those arms withdrawing 6 seconds before the launch. And here you can see the teams, the VIP guests coming out onto the Jupiter control room terraces, getting ready to watch the launch now from outside with their own eyes. We are 1 minute and 27 seconds to launch. Looking here at the range operations manager, waiting for him to announce the final minute.
À toutes les niveaux, attention pour moi, 1 minute. Top, à 0 moins 1 minute.
And we are 1 minute to launch. We're live at the Guiana Space Center. The launch of Horizon 3E for Intelsat and SKY Perfect JSAT Corporation, built by Boeing, and Azerspace-2 Intelsat 38 for Azercosmos and Intelsat, built by Space Systems Loral. Very best wishes now to all the teams. Let's sit back and watch the launch.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage EAP et décollage VA243 ceinture Ariane 5. À bord sont nominaux. La propulsion est nominale. Trajectoire toujours nominale. Sont nominaux, la propulsion est nominale. La propulsion est nominale.
Ariane 5, the 100th launch today. There she is, blazing a trail across the night skies here at the Guiana Space Center. I have to tell you that it's really remarkable seeing that with your own eyes and hearing it. You can actually feel the vibration. Coming up on separation of the boosters, hopefully we will see that with our own eyes. We've been very lucky to have such beautiful clear skies tonight.
Séparation des deux EAP.
And we have confirmation there of the separation of the two boosters. So we are shedding weight. They burnt their propellant. We don't need them anymore. And you can see them there. Those two dots going to the right and left. And the dot in the middle is actually the Vulcan engine. It's the engine of the main stage. So you can see the launcher is flying away from us. Over now to the CGI images to look at that.
La propulsion de
Look at the front of the vehicle, you can see that's what we call the fairing. The pointy bit at the front, our satellites are in there. It's protecting them from the rigors of the launch. But if you look at our altitude on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, you can see that we are now 100 kilometers above the Earth, and there's no longer any friction because the air is too thin for that to cause us any problems. And you can see this is the scheduled moment for separation of the fairing, and we've had that confirmed now by the range operations manager. And we can see how it bends as it falls. There, it's all part of the flat plan. It's called the breathing mode. So I am joined now here on the terrace by Laurent Jourdan, who was in the commentary box with Thierry. Hey Laurent, thank you very much indeed for coming here.
It's a pleasure to be with you tonight.
It's quite something, isn't it, watching a launch like this?
Yes.
You've seen a lot of these, but
Yes.
does it ever wear off?
Always. First the light and then the noise which vibrates internally and externally. It's amazing, always.
And then, of course, we had to wait for about 40 seconds or so before we actually heard it. So, Laurent, you must have seen a lot of launches, though.
Yes, I arrived there for flight 27. So that's almost 216 launch up to now. And 217 now.
217 launches. And so, I mean, what does it mean to you to have seen all these launches and to be part of such an important process?
Yes, usually in campaign I am the leader of the technical authority team for the launch vehicle. So I usually am in the CDL3 that you see just before. And I do not see the launch vehicle lift off at real time like it is now. So it is inside the blockhouse. But
it's quite a privilege for you to have seen it. And of course, because you've worked here for so many years, I think you were saying, what was it, 25 years with Arianespace
Yes.
and 30 years in the business. It's really all about the people, isn't it, who make the space business?
Yes, it is really a human odyssey for this space activity, and I really I'm proud of this, let's say, competence and skillness, which is always given to succeed these launches and prepare them for weeks and weeks. And today I really want to specially, let's say, give a warm thanks to Reinhard Hildebrand, which is who arrived in French Guiana in 1984, and which will retire just after this launch, and all these years of patience and activeness on the launch vehicle activity.
And we actually saw Reinhard Hildebrand working. He's working tonight in the Launch Control Center, which is where you've spent many of your years.
Yes, that's right.
Working. And I was talking to him earlier, and he was telling me about how when he started back in 1984, they just had a little one fax machine. Listen, Laurent, thank you very, very much indeed for joining us. I'm going to send you back now to Thierry, and we are going to have a little look at the 100th anniversary of Ariane 5. Merci Laurent, désolé.
Le pilotage est calme, la propulsion est nominale. Dix, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, propulsion de top.
Off the screen. Our flight path takes us out across the Atlantic Ocean, along the equator, across Africa, and we'll start separating the satellite off the east coast of Africa, this Charlotte Biscuit. And the ground stations along the flight path are tracking Ariane as she flies over, and we call it telemetry. And right now the main stage is getting ready to switch its engine off. It's called the Vulcan engine, that's it, on the left-hand side there of the big tube in the middle, that's the main stage. It's been propelling us into the sky for 9 minutes now, nearly 9 minutes. It's extremely powerful. It burns 320 kilograms of propellant per second. And here is the scheduled moment now for the separation of that. So the main stage engine has switched off and the upper stage engine switches on. We started with 776 tons, and now we've only got 30 tons left. So we've only got 3% of our original mass. And we're really beginning the next phase now in the journey. The upper stage has taken the wheel. Its job to transport the satellites. He's telling us that the propulsion is normal. Its job is to transport the satellites to their correct orbit so that we can release them. And we call this geotransfer orbit. From there, they'll have to travel on their own to their final position in space, which is called geostationary orbit, and that's 36,000 kilometers above the Earth. And the first satellite to be separated will be Horizons 3E. The owners are a joint venture between Intelsat and SKY Perfect JSAT. Intelsat is one of the world's leading satellite operators, and SKY Perfect JSAT Corporation is Asia's largest satellite operator. And Intelsat, SKY Perfect JSAT, and Arianespace are old friends. They've launched many times before, over 3 decades, and Horizons 3E will be the 60th satellite to be launched by Arianespace for Intelsat, and the 20th SKY Perfect JSAT-1 to ride from the CSG.
As you saw, the fairing has been jettisoned, and for the first time, the Intelsat satellite Horizons 3E is now visible on the top of the 100th Ariane 5. Horizons 3E is the 4th Boeing 702 MP satellite to be launched on Ariane after Intelsat 29E, Intelsat 33E, and Intelsat 37E that was launched just 1 year ago. Contrary to its predecessors, Horizons 3E carries an electrical propulsion system using xenon ion thrusters, also known as XIBs. It has a separated mass of 6,441 kilograms, including around 2,500 kilograms of propellants. Since the beginning of the success story between Intelsat and Ariane, 40 years ago, Horizons 3E will be the 60th satellite of the Intelsat fleet to be orbited from here. Horizons 3E is also the 25th satellite to be launched for SKY Perfect JSAT. So thank you to the Intelsat, SKY Perfect JSAT and Boeing teams for their confidence, and we are looking forward to working again soon with you. All the best to Horizons 3E.
You can see on the right-hand side of the screen, we can actually see the images of the satellites in space. The blue light you can see there is effectively the main stage engine. He's telling us that everything's going according to plan. And as we turn around here, on the right you can see that we have the Horizons. He's telling us there's a planned loss of telemetry there for a few seconds, which has all been planned and organised, and then we pick that up again shortly. Gone out of visibility and coming back in. And you can see there the Horizons 3E satellite at the front. Then in the middle is a black structure. We call it the Silda. And that's allowing the attachment of one satellite at the front and protecting another satellite in the middle. So Horizons 3E at the front and Azerspace. And we've picked up the signal at our next tracking station. Over to a film.
Thank you for joining us for the launch of Horizons 3E, the 6th of our Intelsat Epic high-throughput satellites. This launch marks our 4th satellite project with SKY Perfect JSAT. It epitomizes collaboration within the space industry and the benefits that our partnership yields for the customers we collectively serve. Today represents a great milestone for Intelsat as Horizons 3E completes the first phase of our next-generation satellite network. Horizons 3E will increase Intelsat EPIC's capabilities in Asia, expand coverage in the Pacific Ocean region, and become the first truly global C and Ku-band high-throughput network in the market today. Horizons 3E advances our Intelsat EPIC technology. The satellite's enhanced digital payload features the highest throughput of the entire Intelsat EPIC fleet. It has full-beam interconnectivity in C and Ku-band and significant upgrades to power, efficiency, and coverage flexibility. The satellite's unique features will provide greater flexibility to our customers located at 169 degrees east. Aeronautical, maritime, mobility, and government customers will be able to match the satellite's capabilities with traffic demands. Fixed and wireless network operators will be able to cost-effectively expand their 3G and 4G networks and bring affordable broadband connectivity to communities and businesses in both developed and remote areas of Asia-Pacific. As we've seen with other Intelsat EPIC satellites, corporate and enterprise networks will leverage the higher power and greater efficiencies to expand their networks to developing areas of the region and take full advantage of the resiliency and redundancy of our network. Horizons 3E provides additional resiliency to our Intelsat One Flex managed service platform, completing our global coverage and benefiting global maritime operators and corporate enterprise networks. On behalf of Intelsat's employees around the world, I'd like to thank our manufacturer Boeing and our launcher Arianespace for their commitment to delivering a successful program for Intelsat. We are pleased to be part of the 100th launch of the Ariane 5 rocket. The Ariane 5 has launched 17 Intelsat satellites over the past 18 years. We extend our congratulations to Arianespace on this milestone. I'd also like to recognize the Intelsat team for their work on Horizons 3E. Your colleagues are proud of your technical excellence and leadership. We appreciate and applaud your efforts to make Horizons 3E a success. Finally, let me express my sincere appreciation to our customers for their continued trust and for taking this epic journey with us. Go Horizons 3E!
Epic indeed, and we've picked up the signal at the tracking station in Ascension Island, which is following us now. It's a volcanic island in the Middle Atlantic, halfway between South America and Africa. Top right hand of the screen you can see what we call a roller coaster. Before we were using all our energy to get away from the Earth, but now we are using it to go faster so that we can start going higher later in the flight. So we decreased our altitude a little bit to pick up speed. We need to climb to 1,108 kilometers to separate our first satellite. Let's turn our attention to Azerspace-2 Intelsat 38. Azercosmos and Intelsat are sharing capacity on the same satellite, which is why it has the two names. And if we start by looking at the Azerspace-2, the satellite for Azercosmos Open Joint Stock Company, it's a new satellite operator which is evolving fast, and it's the only operator in the Caucasus region. Azerspace-2 is the second satellite for Azercosmos. Arianespace also launched the first one. That was in February 2013. Let's get a closer look at Azerspace-2 Intelsat 38.
I'm proud and excited to be part of Azerspace-2 project. This project is of great importance not only for Azercosmos, but also for whole Azerbaijan. Our team has spent a lot of energy and dedication to make this launch possible, and finally, this day has arrived. The Azerspace-2 satellite consists of 35 active K-band transponders. The satellite is designed to provide services such as digital broadcasting, internet access, data transmission, and the creation of VSAT multi-service networks, and other services for commercial and government customers. The satellite will be located at 45 degrees longitude and provide service in Europe, Central and South Asia, Middle East, and tropical Africa. This launch is not our first cooperation with Arianespace. Our first telecommunications satellite, Azerspace-1, was also successfully launched by Ariane 5. So I would like to thank them for their reliable partnership and customer focus. I'd also like to express my appreciation to the satellite manufacturer SSL, as well as Intelsat for their invaluable support during this program. It was a great pleasure for me to be part of such an experienced team. Good luck to all of us.
And you can see that we're tracking now the satellite, the launcher using the ground station in Libreville, which is in Gabon, the west coast of Africa. So we've crossed the Atlantic Ocean, and you can see with our trajectory on the right-hand side, really starting to climb into space now. So let's look at the Intelsat 38 part of Azerspace-2. Intelsat 38 spacecraft. It'll help Intelsat to expand its TV and broadband satellite services in Central Eastern Europe, Asia and Africa. It's a region where demand is growing very fast. Arianespace is proud that Azercosmos and Intelsat chose them to launch their satellite because it shows their confidence in Europe's launch services. Let's get a little bit more information now on Intelsat 38's mission.
Thank you for joining us to watch the launch of the Intelsat 38 and Azerspace-2 satellite. It is great to be sharing this day with our partner Azercosmos. Together, we're expanding satellite services to support the growing distribution and broadband connectivity demands of Central and Eastern Europe, Asia, and Africa. Intelsat 38 will provide Ku-band capabilities and deliver continuity of service for the Intelsat 12 satellite located at 45 degrees east. The satellite will host leading direct-to-home television platforms for the fast-growing Central and Eastern Europe and Asia-Pacific regions. It will support the growth objectives of our customers operating in these regions. Intelsat 38 will also provide critical broadband connectivity for corporate network and government services in Africa. None of this would be possible without the dedicated partners who share our commitment to build a more connected world. On behalf of Intelsat's employees around the world, I'd like to express our appreciation to Azercosmos, the manufacturer SSL, and our launcher Arianespace. And to the Intelsat team. Your colleagues around the world, thank you for your commitment to excellence and to this mission. It's greatly appreciated. Finally, let me express my sincere appreciation to our customers for their continued trust in Intelsat. Wishing us all a successful mission. Go Intelsat 38.
You can see the tracking stations there along the flight path. Galileo was the one back in the CSG, Natal in Brazil, Ascension Island, and now we're using Libreville on the west coast of Africa. You can see the little dot there in the screen is our launcher flying over the planet. Just talk you through the screen. At the bottom of the screen there we had the altitude, 344 kilometers and climbing. Look at the curve on the right-hand side of the screen, really heading up into the skies now and into space. And our distance in the middle is actually the distance from the pad if you were to draw a straight line from the launch pad to the position where the launcher is. And on the bottom right-hand side. On the right-hand side is our speed, and it's kilometers per second, ladies and gentlemen, not per hour. We are travelling at phenomenal speeds. Azerspace-2 Intelsat 38 was built by Space Systems Loral, the US manufacturer based in California.
Malindi au Kenya.
24 minutes and 10 seconds into our flight, we had confirmation back there that we've picked up the signal now at the tracking station in Malindi. That's in Kenya. So we're crossing Africa and about to start heading out across the Indian Ocean. So how does Ariane know what to do and when? Well, the upper stage has a brain.
Il reste moins de 1 minute de propulsion de l'ESC.
He's telling us that we've got 1 more minute left on propulsion of the upper stage. And the brain is the intelligent part. It's called the vehicle equipment bay. It's actually more than an onboard computer. It's a whole management system. And it analyses information from the engines, the navigation, etc. And it actually makes decisions for the best outcome of the mission. So right now it's getting ready to switch off the engine. It'll send the cut-off command when it senses that the launcher is correctly orientated. So the launcher has to be on track, it needs to be going in the right direction. It needs to be on time, and the computer knows that it must fly from 0 seconds to 25 minutes and 25 seconds, and it has to be going at the right speed for us. That's 9.34, and the right altitude, that's 662 kilometers. And all those parameters
Extinction de l'étage supérieur cryotechnique sur commande de guidage.
Are met, so we are now able to switch the engine off because the vehicle equipment bay, the onboard computer, has sent the signal. So we're entering the next phase now of the flight.
Début des manœuvres de basculement au profit de Horizon 3E.
So he's telling us that we are starting the manoeuvres, the orientation manoeuvres now. We're in what we call the ballistic phase. Ballistic means without propulsion. So we're travelling high enough and fast enough to cruise without the engine. I guess you could say that we're on celestial autopilot right now. So for anyone who's unfamiliar with a launch, Ariane delivers the satellites onto what we call a transfer orbit. For Horizon 3E, the first satellite to be released, that is just over 1,000 kilometres altitude. It's actually 1,108 kilometres above the Earth, to be precise. And it then has to travel to its final position in geostationary. Now, we are looking here at the teams in the CVI, the Real-Time Visual Control Center, and these guys and girls are receiving the information that comes in from the tracking stations that we've been looking at. And they make a quick selection of the information coming from Ariane to check how the flight is progressing in real time. And then they tell the range operations manager when they've confirmation of the main events, so that the range operations manager can then announce them to everybody else across the range. So he said début de la mise en spin, so the beginning of the spin maneuver. Some people like to call this process the space ballet. Basically, once we release the satellite, as I said, it has to travel to its final orbital slot 36,000 kilometers above the Earth. And so for it to be able to do that, we have to put it into a very precise attitude for its journey. Right now we are orientating the upper stage so that it can release the satellite onto its correct orbit. Our injection altitude for Horizon 3E, as I said, is 1,108, and this is the scheduled moment of separation.
Séparation Horizon 3E.
And we have confirmation there of separation of Horizons 3E. You can see it on the right-hand side, moving away from the mothership. So congratulations to all the teams there. We do have separation, but of course we need to hear from the satellite, who needs to call home and tell us that it all is going well, and that's something we'll get, that acquisition is something we'll get later. So we still have Azerspace-2 Intelsat 38 attached. And that's got an even longer journey because we need to climb to 4,340 kilometers above our planet before we can release it. So it needs to go for another 3,000 kilometers or so. It's going to take about 14 minutes to get there. And there'll be a number of maneuvers as well when we get there in order to start the process of separating the satellite. You can really see the sort of trajectory we've taken. We've crossed the Earth there and flying higher and higher into space. For Horizons 3E, work is really just beginning for the Intelsat teams. And they'll certainly be concentrating very hard, I guess, right now, as they monitor their satellite's first maneuvers. They'll be watching over the satellite's activities in the coming months. Let's go over now to Todd Schilb from Intelsat to find out a little bit more about what's going to be happening.
Good evening, I'm Todd Schilb, the Intelsat Launch Vehicle Program Manager for Horizons 3E. I'm pleased to be back in Kourou for another launch campaign, and I'm especially excited to take part in the 100th launch of an Ariane 5, an epic milestone for the Ariane 5 launch vehicle. It's also an epic event for Intelsat and JSAT, since Horizons 3E is the 5th epic satellite delivered by Boeing Space System. Thank you to everyone involved in this endeavor, and a special thanks to our dear friend and colleague, Christophe Bardou. He's been our partner in launching Intelsat satellites for over 30 years. Thanks again, Christophe. Go Horizons 3E. After separation from the launch vehicle, 7 apogee motor burns are planned, with the last one ending on the 6th of October. After that, solar panel and xenon thruster deployments will follow, and bus testing is planned to complete on the 13th of October. Payload testing will be next and will continue through the end of December, with the goal of entering Horizons 3E into service by mid-January 2019.
Bottom left-hand side of our screen, you can see there our altitude. We are really climbing now. Climbing into space. He was telling us that the maneuvers for the Silda are all going according to plan. You can see it there. It's that black structure at the front. So if you're unfamiliar with what we're looking at, to the left-hand side, the disk, if you like, the grey and white disk, that's what's left of the Ariane 5 launcher. It's called the upper stage. And the Silda is a very clever structure because it helps us and enables us to have dual launches on Ariane 5. And if you just look to the right-hand side of the screen at the Silda, the black structure, you can actually see where it's in 2 parts, rather like a fairing. You can see that sort of whitish zigzag line. The Silda is specially designed to, as I said, enable dual launches. And it provides the attachment mechanism at the very front for the upper satellite. And in the same way that a fairing protects the satellite underneath, this is what the Silda is doing. But of course it's not protecting us from friction because we don't have any friction up here now in space. So we've travelled 12,500 kilometres across our planet. Quite a distance. All, excuse me, all in 33 minutes and 29 seconds. There you go, that's a good shot there of our flight path. And our white dot is our rocket, or what's left of it. We are really climbing now in altitude, and you can see that on the right-hand side of our screen. So the next thing that we will be waiting for will be the separation of the cylinder, which means Système de lancement double Ariane in French, system for double launches for Ariane. And of course, the Ariane launch vehicle has, as we heard, undergone a lot of changes over the years. And Ariane 5, with its various versions, capable of taking all kinds of customers to all kinds of different orbits. And Ariane today, the 100th Ariane of the ECA version, which has been the most used version of the Ariane 5 launch vehicle.
La manœuvre d'orientation profil du SILDAS se déroule nominalement.
And he's repeating again that the maneuver is all going according to plan. We're looking here at some images from the drone. This is actually the Jupiter Control Center, and that might look like the real Ariane on the pad there, but it's not. It was a model of Ariane 5, and it's actually not quite a full life-size model. It's probably about a three-quarter size model. Very lifelike. So we're looking here at the upper stage, the disc that's containing the vehicle equipment bay, which is guiding us. This is the scheduled moment now for separation of the cylinder. There it goes. You can see how it moves away in a very carefully planned set of maneuvers. It's called collision avoidance. It's all part of the plan.
Séparation du système de lancement double Ariane.
And now we have the confirmation there of separation of the cylinder. So we can see our satellite underneath for the first time, Azercosmos 2.
Début de la manœuvre d'orientation au profit d'Azerspace-2.
Azerspace-2, I meant to say. Intelsat 38, and he's telling us now we have the beginning of the next set of maneuvers as we start the process now, getting closer now to separation of our second satellite. But we do have a little way to go. We've still got to climb above 4,000 kilometers above the Earth. And you can see again there the image from the drone and the curvature of the Earth. Amazing to think that it's so thin. But let's go over now to another film.
Azerbaijan. We are Azercosmos, premier satellite services operator in the South Caucasus. As of February 2013, we have played a role as an important gateway in a joint space that connects more than 50 countries in Europe, Africa, Central Asia, and the Middle East. In 2014, we took over the rights to operate and commercialize Azersky, high-resolution optical Earth observation satellite, and entered into the commercial business of Earth observation services. Now we are launching Azerspace-2 telecommunication satellite that will enhance our coverage area and spectrum of services. Built for Azercosmos by SSL, Azerspace-2 is telecommunication satellite with 35 active transponder Ku-band payload. Its designed lifetime is more than 15 years. Azerspace-2 will serve Europe, Central and South Asia, the Middle East, and Sub-Saharan Africa with high-power Ku-band from 45 degrees east. The new spacecraft is ideally designed for smaller antenna and has cross-connectivity between East Africa, West Africa and Central Africa, Europe and Central Asia. We are agile, and our activity is based on values such as integrity, customer satisfaction, professionalism, team spirit, and sustainable growth. At Azercosmos, we are connecting people. For this, we utilize all the advantages of fast technological development. Technological development is based on human factors and designed for people. Azerbaijan recognizes that development of human capital is important for a better future for humanity. That is why we are bidding to host World Expo 2025 in Baku under the title Developing Human Capital, Making a Better Future. Technical excellence complemented by customized approach.
Lots of exciting things happening there at Azercosmos for Azerbaijan. And this is the second time, of course, that Arianespace has been supporting the development of Azercosmos.
Poursuite nominale de la manœuvre d'orientation au profit de Azerspace-2, Intelsat 38.
And we launched the first satellite for them, Azerspace-1. Azerspace-2 getting ready to increase the coverage area and spectrum of services provided by Azercosmos, so a very important satellite there. And also for our friends at Intelsat, Intelsat 38. So we're in the process of orientating the satellite. Just a reminder of the altitude we need to get to, 4,340 kilometers. That is our injection altitude. And our speed will be just over 8 kilometers per second, I believe. And you can see there our distance from the pad. We have travelled 14,500, nearly 15,000 miles. It's amazing to think that that thin blue line that we're looking at there, the atmosphere of our planet, is so thin, as I was saying earlier, in the sense that it's such a small line. It's our gas mask, the gas mask that is allowing Earth to thrive here on Earth. Sorry, allowing life, rather, to thrive here on Earth. And this is the scheduled moment now for separation.
Séparation Azerspace-2, Intelsat 38.
Well, congratulations there to all the teams. We have separation of our second satellite, Azerspace-2, Intelsat 38. Congratulations to all the teams at Intelsat for both satellites and to the teams at Azercosmos. Obviously, we will be wanting to hear from those satellites to check that all is going well up there in space, but there's lots of smiling faces. We started off, we had a red status panel earlier in the launch, where we had a delay, but it all sorted out in the end. And we're waiting now for the speeches. And before we do that, let's just Jupiter Control Center and the spaceport here in French Guiana, in Amazonia, on the equator. Our two satellites are now making their way towards their geostationary orbits, and of course the teams on the ground will be really focusing hard now as they take control of their babies. The satellites go through a number of different activities in coming days, weeks and months before they can start sending operating services. So the teams will be monitoring all those from the control rooms. And we certainly wish all the teams the best of luck as you start your operations. Waiting for Stéphane Israel to take the floor.
Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Arianespace is delighted to announce that Horizon 3E and Azerspace-2 Intelsat 38 have been separated as planned on the targeted geostationary transfer orbits. For Ariane 5 mission number 100, our heavyweight launcher has once more performed flawlessly. Congratulations to all. Tonight's 100 Ariane 5 truly feels special. First, let me express my deepest gratitude to the two long-standing customers partnering on Horizon 3E, our upper passenger today. Horizon 3E is the 60th Intelsat spacecraft orbited by Arianespace and the 20th for SKY Perfect JSAT. I would like to give special thanks to SKY Perfect JSAT and to his CEO, Shinji Takada, along with Eiichi Yonekura, Senior Executive Vice President, who is with us tonight. Our strong relationship is embodied by the two spacecraft flown on Ariane 5 this year, GCSat 17 in our backlog, and we hope further opportunities. Let me also pay tribute to our key commercial customer and partner, Intelsat, and notably to his CEO, Steve Spangler, along with Ken Lee, Senior Vice President, Space System, who is with us tonight. I must say that Ken is here so often in French Guiana that he almost qualifies for citizenship. Our fruitful collaboration dates back to 1983. For the second time in 2 years, Intelsat has entrusted Ariane 5 to launch its two birds. Indeed, Azerspace-2 Intelsat 38, the lower passenger, is a multi-mission satellite we launched for both Azercosmos and Intelsat. Intelsat 38 is a 61 satellite we orbited for Intelsat. With two more in our backlog, Arianespace will complete the Intelsat fleet. Likewise, Azerspace-2 will enhance the capacity of Azerspace, first operator of the South Caucasian region. I want to thank Denis Badir-Kranov, Vice Chairman of Azercosmos, who is with us tonight. From this live stream, let me also send all my best to Azerbaijan, as well as thank Azercosmos CEO Rashad Nabiev and all his teams. Arianespace is very proud and honored to have been entrusted with your second national geosatellite after the successful launch of Azerspace-1 in 2013. We wish a bright future to our successful collaboration. I would like also to congratulate our partners, both satellite manufacturers, Boeing for Horizon 3E and SSL for Azerspace-2 Intelsat 38. We have with Boeing and SSL a long-lasting collaboration, and we are very honored to deliver with you. With this 100th Ariane 5, Ariane 5 joined Ariane 4 in the Heavy Launchers Hall of Fame. Ariane 4 has delivered 160 times, and we think Ariane 5 will deliver a little more than that. Tonight, stars are aligned, as this success also marks the 300th launch for Arianespace family of vehicles since 1980. What an achievement. And the future is already here. Ariane 6 will lift off in less than 2 years from the CSG. We have been with our customers, Intelsat, SKY Perfect JSAT, and Azercosmos to the launch pad, and I'm sure they will enjoy this rocket. So let me congratulate all our partners for tonight and the many more successes Ariane 5 has encountered since 2002. ESA and all the member states of the Ariane program whose support is essential. Ariane Group, Ariane 5 Prime and first shareholder of Arianespace. CNES, Ariane 5 Design Authority and our daily partner here in the Guiana Space Center. And for sure, all our contractors in French Guiana and all employees at the launch facility. And of course, I would like to pay my tribute to my Arianespace colleagues for this 300th perfect launch. Here's to teamwork, and let's get prepared for the 300 next ones. So I would like now to welcome to the stage our customers and partners. Thank you very much, and congratulations to all.
Good evening. Thank you. It's been great, and it's great to be here and share this day with all of you. Arianespace is known for delivering, and we are very appreciative of another flawless mission. It was a little bit exciting, but flawless nevertheless. The Ariane 5 has delivered 17 Intelsat satellites over the last 18 years. And we are thrilled that we could be part of Ariane's 100th launch on Ariane 5. I would like to also recognize our manufacturing partners, Boeing and Space Systems Loral, as well as fellow satellite operators, SKY Perfect JSAT, and Azercosmos. Boeing began our epic journey with us in 2012, and it is wonderful to be with them tonight as Horizons 3E, the sixth of the Intelsat Epic satellites, is launched and on its way. Horizons 3E also marks our fourth satellite project with JSAT, our valuable and long-term partner. Maxar SSL has long been a trusted and reliable manufacturing partner with Intelsat, and Azerspace-2 Intelsat 18 is no exception. Along with Azercosmos, we want to thank SSL for their hard work, dedication, and for their long track record of delivering high-quality satellites. Today truly represents the spirit of collaboration within the space industry and the benefits that our respective partnerships yield for customers we collectively serve. The launch of Horizons 3E also marks an important milestone for Intelsat. With 6 Intelsat Epic satellites now in orbit, we have completed Epic's global footprint, making Intelsat the first truly global CNKU high-throughput network available in the market today. Horizons 3E enhanced digital payload has full beam connectivity in CA-KU band and significant upgrades to power efficiency and coverage flexibility. This will enable airlines, commercial shipping vessels, and cruise ships to match the satellite's capability with traffic demands and to take full advantage of the power resiliency and redundancy of Intelsat globalized network. It will enable passengers and crews on ships and planes to enjoy easy access to same level of broadband connectivity as they were back at home. Fixed and mobile network operators in Asia Pacific can now bring affordable broadband connectivity to business and communities in both developed and remote areas of region. Joining us today is KDDI, one of the leading service providers and mobile network operators serving the Asian Pacific region, as well as GCI, the largest telecommunications company in Alaska. Their vision of incorporating our satellite technology into their own infrastructure will open up new avenues of growth and provide an important structural foundation for the future. I also like to thank and congratulate Azercosmos who partner with us on Azerspace-2 Intelsat 18 satellite. Intelsat 18 will enhance our video neighborhood at 45 degrees east, strengthening our direct-to-home services and providing additional growth opportunities for our media customers operating in Central Eastern Europe, as well as Asia-Pacific region. Intelsat 38 will also provide critical broadband connectivity for government and enterprise customers operating in Africa. It is wonderful to have Bulgarian telecommunication network here to celebrate today's event with us. Access to affordable Broadway connectivity and high-quality content is essential to the exchange of ideas that support economic growth of individuals, communities, and countries. The launch of these two satellites today will enable our customers to deliver services that will enrich the lives of communities across Asia-Pacific, Central and Eastern Europe, and Africa, and ensure a more digitally inclusive world. I would like to thank our customers for our partnership, support, and entrusting Intelsat's globalized network to help you achieve your business objectives. Congratulations again to the teams, and thank you for another successful launch. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. That was one hell of a roller coaster ride, I have to tell you that. But I'm honored to have been here to see it, and congratulations to Arianespace for their 100th Ariane 5 launch and 300th overall mission. Congratulations also to the Azerspace-2 and Intelsat 38 team on successful launch. Finally, congratulations and thanks to all the teams who made the Horizon 3 launch successful. I know our Boeing team came together to watch and celebrate this launch back at our El Segundo facility. And special thanks goes out to all the team members who worked so hard to make this mission very successful. In building Horizon 3E, Boeing continued its long relationship with both Intelsat and SKY Perfect JSAT. Our Intelsat relationship has lasted more than 50 years, starting with Early Bird, which launched in 1965. We have also worked with SKY Perfect JSAT for more than 29 years and have supplied them with more than 10 satellites in that time. Today, Intelsat, SKY Perfect JSAT, and Boeing all took a big stride into the future. And that future includes Boeing digital technology that Horizon 3E carries, which give Intelsat and JSAT amazing flexibility to meet their customer needs. As we celebrate today's success, our Boeing team are already hard at work building the future, including our next generation digital payload and other technologies that will help our customers improve the way they do business. The Boeing team is proud to support Intelsat and SKY Perfect JSAT in their mission to provide greater mobility and broadband connectivity in the Asia-Pacific region. Thank you again to the team at Intelsat, SKY Perfect JSAT, Arianespace, Boeing, who helped make today's launch of Horizon 3E a very successful campaign. Thank you very much, and have a nice night.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. Congratulations to all of us with the mission completed successfully. I feel very proud to stand here today and to address you on behalf of Azercosmos team. Azerspace-2 has just launched successfully. This satellite will be Azercosmos' second telecommunications satellite. It will expand on the current capacity of Azerspace-1 and enable us to provide more reliable service. This satellite will create favorable opportunities for our existing and new customers to start expanding their current satellite solutions. Dear ladies and gentlemen, 5 years ago, here at Guiana Space Center, under visionary guidance of His Excellency President Ilham Aliyev, we opened a new page in the history of Azerbaijan by launching our first ever satellite, Azerspace-2. That was a landmark event for the whole Azerbaijani nation. Today, we have launched our third satellite. However, this launch is as important and of historical importance for us as the launch of Azerspace-1, because it showcases that Azercosmos has managed to keep up the momentum going and stay committed to its value of sustainable growth. A lot has happened since the first launch. Azercosmos has managed to become one of the leading satellite services operators of the region. Today, along with the revenue generation, Azercosmos is one of the driving forces of human resources development via training of new generation of satellite engineers and newly established R&D direction. And this serves to the higher level agenda of Azerbaijan on development of human capital. Today, there are students among us from the leading universities of Azerbaijan. Who knows, maybe after some years, they will be standing here delivering congratulatory speech on another successful launch. Esteemed colleagues, let me take this opportunity on behalf of Azercosmos team to express my sincere appreciation to everyone who has been part of this great project. Thanks to SSL team for invaluable cooperation in building this spacecraft. Great thanks for Arianespace and CNES for making for this spectacular launch to happen. This is an exciting journey, and walking this journey along with the professional business partners makes it even more exciting. And for sure, our anchor customer Intelsat, which is also our co-passenger, is one of them. I would like to express my deep gratitude to our customers whose trust lets us grow and develop day after day. Last but not least, let me recognize our young and energetic Azercosmos team, whose passion, dedication, and technical excellence is the cornerstone of all our achievements. Once again, congratulations.
Good evening, everyone. So thank you to Arianespace for another successful launch. This launch kind of brought back memories of my first launch with Ariane. That was the first program that I managed for SSL. And that was another program that got up almost to launch time, and then everything stopped. And I understand how my colleagues from Azercosmos were feeling at that point, because at that point I thought, oh, there goes 4 years of my life. But Ariane came through at the end of the launch window, just like tonight, and launched it successfully. So everything's good. So thank you again to Ariane for that. My congratulations to Azercosmos on their second satellite and helping to move forward, fulfilling their mission and their vision for service across Europe, Asia, and Africa. Congratulations to Intelsat. Actually on both launches tonight. But Intelsat 38 brings us to 52 satellites that SSL has built for Intelsat over the years. And then, of course, congratulations to SKY Perfect JSAT on getting their satellite on orbit. This brings SSL to 90 satellites on orbit, which we've launched over the years, and we're quite proud of that fact. And if it weren't for some of our partners like Intelsat and Ariane, we wouldn't be there. SSL and Intelsat have a long history of working together. Congratulations to the Ariane team for getting to 300 successful launches and to 100 launches on Ariane 5. And we're quite proud of the fact that through those 100 launches, they've launched 33 SSL satellites for us on 31 separate missions with them. So we're quite happy about that. And again, congratulations to the Ariane team on hitting their milestones. And then, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the SSL team, both the team here in French Guiana, who got our satellite ready for launch and is supported through the entire launch campaign, and the team back in Palo Alto, who built the satellite and tonight and right now is busy working on getting the satellite into operational mode, and they'll be doing that over the next several months. And at the end of that, we'll hand over the satellite to Azercosmos and Intelsat so they can start putting service on it. So once again, congratulations and thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back in the Guiana Space Center on October the 19th, and we are very proud because we will deliver for ESA a key mission, which is Bepi Colombo, and Bepi Colombo will allow us to better understand Mercury, so it will be a very important scientific mission. Before concluding, j'aimerais remercier tous nos partenaires ici en Guyane, naturellement le CNES pour le Centre spatial guyanais, mais aussi
for the CSG, but also all those who help us to provide security for our launches, the gendarmerie, the fire service from Paris, the Legionnaires, and we want to tell you how grateful we are to you. Thank you to our elected officials, our parliamentarians, the mayors of Cayenne and Kourou. We can't tell you how important you are to us, and we really welcome you here as partners. Donc,
congratulations to our customers and partners, and now enjoy the evening. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Mission accomplished for the 100th Ariane 5, who has delivered all our satellites successfully onto orbit. Huge congratulations to all the teams, to our customers, Intelsat, SKY Perfect JSAT and Azercosmos, and of course to the manufacturers, Boeing and Space Systems L'Oréal. It's been great teamwork, hasn't it?
J'aurais une pensée toute particulière pour les équipes de lancement, et en particulier pour Reinhard Hildebrandt, qui est arrivé ici en Guyane en 1984, qui a fait tous les lancements Ariane et qui, après ce lancement de ce soir, part en retraite. Donc bonne route Reinhard, et merci pour tout ce que tu as fait.
Chapeau bas, effectivement, Reinhard Hildebrandt. 250 lancements sur les 300 d'Arianespace, c'est un très beau score. Nous, on se donne rendez-vous pour Bepi Colombo, on l'a entendu. C'est la prochaine mission. C'est une mission Agence spatiale européenne, bien entendu avec Arianespace, et une Ariane 5.
Absolument. So, we're going to leave you now with the last, what, an hour and a half ago?
Yeah.
With the launch. It was a beautiful launch. Let's watch it again.
Wonderful.
From us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Allumage et décollage.